Hey everybody, Pebbles here. So I hope 2018 has been good to you. Um, I think I'm gonna start with reflection times and then I'm going to go through the books that I've read this year. I have surpassed my goals from 2017. 2017 I read 20 books. You should read a minimum of 26 a year. I only managed 20, but this year I managed 33, and I hope to do more reading in 2019. Um, but we'll get on to the books I've read. I'm not going to show you anything physical, but um, 2019, the theme for 2018 was meant to be rest. Rest is something that I didn't know how to do. It's something that I didn't quite master until I think we hit around November time. And then I truly understood that when you ask for rest, it doesn't necessarily mean that you start slacking in what it is that you're meant to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't do much. What it really means is that you learn at intervals where it's necessary to let go of the power that you feel like you should have, or you should hold, or you should be exerting and placing it in the hands of God. There are some things you can't do. There are some fights that you can't fight alone, and that's when you have to put it in God's hands. And if you don't learn to rest, then you will be forced into a situation where you have to rest. For me creatively, I think I went on creative rest at the expense of handling some other things in life, and I didn't like it. So I was forced that because I don't like going periods without writing, because I don't like periods without doing something creative, that I must strike a balance where I give time to creativity. I give time to combining my love. I mean, some of you know that I like sciences. I like clinical science, and that filters itself into my poetry, and I write and I do all kinds of humorous things with it. So knowing that I don't like going periods without writing, because it's exercise. Anybody that wants to get better at any type of craft, you will put some hours into it daily, and I want to be a better writer, so I know I have to put into that creatively, and it doesn't just help me creatively, also helps me in life, in profession and professionally, and in whatever other things that I might do. It'll open doors for you when you work on your craft. But anyway, getting back to rest. So this year was meant to be themed on rest, and I guess that I learned closer to the end of the year that you will have your resting periods, and you will learn that rest comes in different formats in different seasons in your life at different times. Another thing was I made a conscious decision that I would do some speaker practice. You guys probably saw me start a little bit of it in February, and then I only did it for 2 Sundays, and then it didn't fall through. So I literally put speaker practice every Sunday at the start for the first 2 months, because I knew it was going to be busy in the year. So I put speakers practice every 2 Sundays, just because I felt like that would be more realistic. Then after March, I just went for every Sunday. You best believe that I didn't fall through with constantly practicing for those Sundays, but in these last 3 months, this last quarter of the year, I've had moments with God where I've just spoken and just thought of ways that I could empower people, ways that I could talk on a topic, and that practice came every single day. Every single morning I made time to talk with God. That speaker practice came through. So my encouragement to you is that going into 2019, write it down, make it plain. Give it power on paper, because once it's on paper, the enemy cannot come in your mind and disregard what it is that you have, that you want to achieve, that you want to forge ahead, that you have in mind. Get yourself a journal. Write down creative ideas when they come to mind. Write down ideas for inventions when they come to mind. Write down ideas for screenplays that you want to write, or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever sector you work in. Get yourself a journal 2019. Write it down, make it plain. Whether it sounds ridiculous, whether it sounds sensible, write it down, because you will regret the days when you wish that, oh, what's that? What did I think about that month in 2019? And you can't remember because you didn't write it down. So write it down. and let it be on paper. Let it seem ridiculous. And one thing you got to do is detach yourself from it. Don't try to start thinking, oh, how's it going to work out? How's it going to work out this way, that way? Let me just give you an example. Okay. A few weeks ago, I had an event, and I wasn't able to get extra tickets for some of the people I wanted to be at the event. I said in my head I said in my heart, I said, Lord, I don't know how, but you're going to get seats for these people that I love. And you best believe that he placed somebody in a position to favor those people that I love and gave them seats. How deep is your faith? How bad do you want it? How bad are you willing to let go of what you think is humanly possible and allow God to do the rest? Y'all, this is my faith series. This is my motivation all in one, because you guys need to understand that when you're going into 2019, you cannot go into it average. You cannot go into it with the same mindset that you think made you survive 2018. 2019 is not for people who are ready to survive. It's about people who are ready to thrive. People who are willing to go for the things that seem larger than them, that seem larger than the life that they live. And I feel like that's where your rest comes in. When you let go of what you think is humanly possible by your own strength and might, and you give it up to God. And you let him take the wheel wherever you can't see. One thing I learned this year is wherever you go, whether you've been in your faith for 20 years or 25 years, every new season you get, every new territory you get to, and you feel like you're tripping up, like, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Just breathe and say, Lord, I'm not trying to take the driver's seat. This is not your first time here, but Lord, this is my first time. So I'm giving the driver's seat back to you, and I'm going to watch from the back and allow you to guide me. Because you've been to the destination that we're headed to. I haven't. So teach me what I need to know. Guide my eyes to see what it is that you need me to see, and let my ears listen out for what it is that you have for me to hear. So I feel like just distract yourself, just separate yourself from whatever you think is not possible by your own human abilities, and give it up to God. I can only give you what I have, and what I have is a relationship and a journey with Christ that has gotten better over the years. And it's how much do you want him? How much do you need him? How much are you ready to really learn from that relationship? And I think I got to a stage where I was like, Lord, there's something different about you that other religions don't have. And that's because you can be my friend, you can be my savior, you can be the one who fights for me, you can be the one I laugh with, you can be the one I talk to. God keeps me sane. Let me just put it that way. When you have to deal with all kind of people in the world, God will help you keep it together. I'm telling you. So let him help you keep it together in 2019. Now let's get on to my reads for 2018. What did Pebbles read in 2018? I read 33 reads. A lot of big kids read, so that that's the series, that's the hashtag I use when I awaken my inner child in reading. So I'll start from the top. My first book of 2018 was What's Wrong with Being Black by Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo. Next was The Famous Five, Good Old Time and Old Stories, Enid Blyton, The Midnight Picnic, Kindred Spirits, Black Boy by Richard Wright, Harper and the Sea of Secrets, Sari Burnell, The Great Mouse Plot, which was pretty gross. The Boy Who Could Do What He Liked, hilarious. Rock War, The Audition. It's a nice twist on bullying. And then what did I read next? I read Dombe Sun. Was not interested with that. I read a beautiful essay by W.E.B. Du Bois called The Freedman's Bureau. I have more of his essays to read in 2019, and I look forward to that. We had The Butterfly Beach by Jacqueline Wilson. Fahrenheit 451. Do you remember that was my challenge? I had the challenge to read that book in 4 days because I had to give it back to its owner. And I managed it. Authentic Blackness, The Folk in the New Negro Renaissance by J. Martin Favor. Interesting read. Stretched my thinking in some interesting ways. His perspective. Whatever you think, think the opposite by Paul Arden. That was an interesting read. Natives, Race, and Class in the Ruins of Empire, Akala. I never knew Akala was such a great writer. I knew that he was a very intellectual mind, a force to reckon with, but I really understood his experience with that book. The Believer's Authority by Kenneth E. Hagin took my faith to another level. The Boy in the Smoke by Maureen Johnson, boy. Spot the Difference, Juno Dawson, pretty cool. My G is Decoded, another amazing book. If you get the opportunity, read it. The Craft of the Screenwriter, it challenged me as a writer. The Heart is a Smash Ball by one of my fellow poets. She writes really dope. Star Wars, Adventures in the Wild Space of the Escape, interesting. Creative Writing in the Digital Age, Theory, Practice, and Pedagogy, Michael Dean Clark. Private Eye Iguana, Nina Leiden, read by Esai Morales. How to Recognize Herod, the Killer of Stars by Delapo. Can't say the last name. 27 was Right in America Black, Race Rhetoric in the Public Sphere. That was pretty interesting. In the Footsteps of a Prophet, Jerry Savelle took my faith to another level. When I tell you he took me to another level, he's the reason why my 2018 ended the way it's ending. Wilfred Gordon McDonald Partridge, that was a really nice story. It touched on dementia in such a cute way when it comes to children. A Mother's Heart by Ellen Sana really made me understand the heart of mothers. Pathway to Success, 21 Steps on the Way to the Top. I knew that I was on the right track when I read that. Woman of God was another amazing book. Kudos to James Patterson.